Hello, everybody. John Minikis, Owen Dwyer, and Colin Droff are here today exploring the major topics of the Civil War in 1864, from battles to re-elections. Enjoy. First, we will talk about one of the bloodiest battles of the Civil War, the Second Battle of Cold Harbor.
The Second Battle of Cold Harbor was fought from May 31st to June 12, 1864. It was one of General Ulysses S. Grant's first battles in his overland campaign. It was remembered as one of the bloodiest battles in American history.
Thousands of Union soldiers were killed or wounded. The battle was fought in what is now Mechanicsville, Virginia. General Lee led the Confederates, while General Ulysses S. Grant and General Meade led the Union Army.
The Confederates had a total of about 4,600 wounded or dead. The Union had almost 3 times as much, with a total of about 12,700 wounded or dead. This battle is considered one of the worst defeats by the Union Army.
One reason the Union lost is because they had very bad planning and execution. Finally, on June 12, 1864, General Lee led the Confederates to victory, and they won the Battle of Cold Harbor. Our next story today is about a major battle that was critical to the outcome of the war.
The Battle of Spotsylvania was a battle fought in Virginia soon after the Battle of the Wilderness. It was a major loss for both sides, and either side was declared a winner.
General Ulysses S. Grant and General George G. Meade for the Union faced off against Robert E. Lee of the Confederates. The war had a major death toll. It was one of the most costly battles of the war.
There were over 24 hours of hand-to-hand combat with many wounded soldiers. In fact, there were around 32,000 fatalities. The Battle of Spotsylvania was one of the most intense battles of the Civil War.
Most of the supporting efforts failed. This battle ended undecided, but many Confederate generals got captured or killed. This is some information about the Battle of Spotsylvania. I hope you learned something from it. We will move on to our next subject, the re-election of Abraham Lincoln.
On November 8, 1864, the president that passed out the Emancipation Proclamation, Abraham Lincoln, was sent to office for a second time during the Civil War. With this election, any hope of the settlement between the North and the South was vanished. The war would go on.
Lincoln beat out George B. McClellan of the Democratic Party, mostly because of the heavy Republican population in the North. He won by over 400,000 votes, easily securing an electoral victory. This caused more of the slaves to become free, and the South to be scared of the Union because of the overwhelming power that the Army holds. Lincoln's second term didn't last long, though.
6 weeks after his inauguration, he was assassinated by Democrat John Wilkes Booth. The loss of Lincoln was a shot in the foot for the Union Army, now losing their leader.
The Union would quickly rebound, though, by blocking the major ports. The death of Lincoln wouldn't create a big impact because the Union would greatly overpower the Confederates in the end. Our last topic is one of the longest battles, the Siege of Petersburg.
The Siege of Petersburg was a battle fought between Generals Ulysses S. Grant and Robert E. Lee on the outskirts of Richmond, Virginia. The battle lasted 10 months from June 1864 to March 1865.
The main reason the Confederates wanted to take over Petersburg was to cut off the railroad supply lines from Richmond. The Union came prepared, though, with almost 125,000 men, while Robert E. Lee of the Confederates came with around 50,000 soldiers.
The battle was certainly long and bloody, with many casualties. Both sides suffered big blows to their armies, but the Confederate death toll was higher. Lee was forced to retreat and failed to cut off supply lines.
If General Lee had succeeded, it would have been very hard for the Union to move forward with their plans. This battle could have changed the course of the war and history, but the Union was just too strong of an army.
Overall, 1864 had a big impact on the outcome of the Civil War. Many battles and fights caused an extremely high amount of deaths. Deaths of presidents to deaths of farmers, but each one has a different story, and no life of anyone's was more important to our country. Thank you for listening.